Welcome everyone to the Enterprise Architecture Radio. It's the new year. I admit that it's the end of the month, but I would still like to wish you a very happy new year, and I wish you a very prosperous and successful year ahead. Now, when I was thinking about the topics that I can cover in the first episode of 2025, a couple of things come to mind. One is 2024 trends that I could discuss those. And then one of the popular topics that's all over the place is predictions of 2025 technology trends. But these are boring topics and you'll find them all over the place. So I decided to take another approach. Artificial intelligence, very popular. Everybody's talking about it these days. So I started thinking, what would an organization have to do to leverage artificial intelligence properly? There are a number of uses that artificial intelligence has. And in our personal life, we use AI more and more these days after the advent of OpenAI and ChatGPT, right? Nobody really goes to Google anymore. The traditional Google anyway, right? There is Google Gemini, which is also AI. And everybody's using AI to do their search. There's a lot of usage of AI in creating content as well. People I have seen on LinkedIn and other social media platforms creating content using artificial intelligence. Now, is that really a bad thing? I'm not entirely sure. I'm not going to pass judgment on is it good or bad to use artificial intelligence to create content. My personal view is that use artificial intelligence, but smartly, right? Don't ask ChatGPT or Gemini to write an article on high performance computing and 200 words, etc., and then just copy and paste it on LinkedIn. That doesn't, it's visible, it's evident. People will see this content and they'll know that this has been generated by AI. How do we know? We don't know. We know by the language. It's synthetic. It doesn't have a feel. I use artificial intelligence as well, quite a bit, but I use it to learn. Right. For example, a few weeks ago, I was doing research on high performance computing, and I asked Copilot, and I use Copilot extensively, and I've been using it for a while now. And since it came out with Microsoft, and I have a Microsoft 365 subscription, and we have Microsoft 365 and the enterprise, and Copilot came with it. So I've been using it for a while now. And what I was doing was I was asking it questions like, what are the different kinds of hardware that can be treated as high performance computing, or what are the different offerings from NVIDIA, or what are different offerings from cloud, right? Or, is there a managed service? Or what kind of high performance computing hardware can be used in what kind of workloads, and can you give me some real life case studies of high performance computing workloads and how it was effectively used, or what is the power or speed of high performance computing, or what are the energy requirements, or what are the carbon footprint implications of using high performance computing, and so on and so forth, or high performance computing in mobile devices, for example, and so on and so forth. So there are a number of questions that I asked, and it gave me answers, extensive, beautiful answers that allowed me to learn. And now if I want to talk about high performance computing, or if I want to write an article about high performance computing, it's very easy for me, because I've already learned it, and then writing it becomes my own language. That's how I think artificial intelligence can be best used. But that's not what we're going to talk about here today. We're going to talk about extrapolating this to the enterprise level, right? How can organizations use artificial intelligence, or how can organizations effectively leverage artificial intelligence to become a better organization? There are some pessimistic views about artificial intelligence as well, about artificial intelligence coming and taking away our jobs and so on. In my opinion, I'm very optimistic about it. I think it's a fantastic tool. I think it has great potential in improving our lives. I think it has great potential in improving the organizational effectiveness. And I think it can be leveraged, but it can only be leveraged if we learn to use it, if we learn to leverage it, if we learn to, if we understand its potential and be optimistic about it. So there are a couple of points that I'm going to be covering about how an organization can become AI enabled, or how it can leverage artificial intelligence to its maximum potential. So point number one, I will start with identify objectives, right, and goals. We always start with goals. What is it that you really want to do with artificial intelligence? Point number two, I will talk about a strong data foundation, because artificial intelligence only works on data. So we'll talk about that. Point number three, skills and capabilities. We'll have to develop the skills. Point number four, choosing the right tools and platforms. Point number five, starting small, the value of starting small, and revolutionizing the culture. So while we start small, we also take huge steps at the same time, and I'll talk about that a bit. Point number six is ethics and governance, and this is going to be an important one. I might get a little bit philosophical here. Point number seven is collaborate and innovate. So, how does organization collaborate, and how do we continuously innovate and get better? Point number eight would be continuous improvement. So these are some of the points that I'm going to cover. So let's start with point number one, which is identify objectives. Artificial intelligence can do a lot, but if we don't know what we want to use it for, then we won't be able to leverage it the best, right? Artificial intelligence can help us improve customer experience, for example, right? So that itself is a big bullet point, right? Under that, there will be sub-bullets like, you can have chat interfaces that interact with the customer to provide a better experience. It will have the access to tremendous amount of data in the background, which it can be leveraged to improve the experience, to give a more human-like experience. Artificial intelligence can help us create better user interfaces that are more intuitive, and so on and so forth. So there are a number of different applications of artificial intelligence. We need to understand why we want to use this. What is it that, like healthcare and pharmaceutical organizations can leverage artificial intelligence to assess and analyze tremendous amounts of large data around protein folding, for example, or around DNA, or around potential drugs, and then the ones that are high potential that can be worked further in, or imaging, and so on and so forth. So there are so many different applications which can be sentiment analysis, can be done by financial services organizations, and so on, using AI. So what do you want to use it for? Identify the goals and objectives, and be very clear in your head what it is that you want to do as an organization. I'm not talking about you as a person. I'm talking about as an organization, what are the goals and objectives that you want to meet using AI. And then we have data. Artificial intelligence works on data, and there is a tremendous amount of data in every organization, no matter how small it is. And there's a large amount of data that is being generated every day, right? We are creating tons and tons of data, and this data is all over the place, right? We have Excel files, we have images, we have chats, we have emails, we have structured data and databases, of course. We have, so many different forms of data within the organization. Now think about it. If artificial intelligence needs to work, it needs to be able to access all this data, analyze all this data, assess all this data, and then based on that take decisions, right? How will it access all this data if it is not on a standardized platform? So creating, I'm not going to call it a platform, because then it gives you the impression that all the data needs to be on a single database. That's not what I mean, right? I'm talking about a foundation where there is standards, best practices, accessibility of the data, etc., etc. If there is an AI tool that needs to access all this data to analyze it, we should have a foundation that enables that. Now, this is a much deeper topic, and I'm thinking at this point in time that I need to split this topic into multiple episodes, and I'll cover all of these, and probably let's see if there is sufficient interest, we can drill down or deep dive into each topic and see where it goes. And then we have skills, right? We will need the skills. Now, everybody cannot become an AI programmer or a data scientist, right? Because their job does not need that kind of, skills. You don't need programming. You don't need to be able to do programming in Python in your current job roles and responsibilities. But everybody does need to have a higher level understanding of what artificial intelligence is. Everybody needs to understand what AI is capable of doing, how it can be leveraged, what are its applications, and so on and so forth. So the organization needs to create a culture. If you're going to truly leverage artificial intelligence in the coming future, the organization needs to create a culture where it is very clear that everybody, no matter what role you are in, needs to have a high level understanding of what artificial intelligence is capable of doing. Of course, if you're in a technology role, then you can't get away with a higher level understanding, right? Depending upon what role you are in within technology, you need to have a deeper understanding of either programming or high performance computing or data science or whatever it might be. You need to choose your field and get as deep as you can, because that's your role. But so skills, training, hiring, very important. Now, what are the skills that you can learn in what role? Probably if there is a need for it, let me know, and we will we'll deep dive into that as well in a future episode. And then we have the right tools and platforms, right? What kind of tools and platforms are out there, and what are the platforms that you can pick and choose, right? Now, two things. One is artificial intelligence as an accessory. These days, all the tools are coming with artificial intelligence embedded into them. So whether it's Rise with SAP, for example, or simple things like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, which come with Copilot attached to it. Most of the tools all the tool vendors are now embedding artificial intelligence into it. But that's not just it. There are other tools that help us build artificial intelligence for us, that help us build machine learning models, that help us build algorithms. Now, how much machine learning models you need to build from scratch is a question, because there's a tremendous amount of models which are already available out there. What I'm trying to say is there is a large ecosystem that is being developed now that gives us ready-made tools and technologies and platforms to do AI, to leverage AI. So this is a very, very detailed and tricky topic, right? And depending upon what kind of business you are in. So if you're a pharma organization or a finance organization or a retail organization or a supply chain organization, depending upon what business you do, you need to pick and choose what kind of tools and platforms you need, right? You may buy, or you may build, or you may outsource. There are a number of possibilities. So let's see what we can do about this. Also, we'll probably pick an episode where we can deep dive into a couple of things. Actually, there might be a couple of episodes on this very topic. It's a vast and deep topic. And then we have ethics. This is a topic of, of a great interest to me. I've been talking about it for a while now, that as artificial intelligence gets better, we need to focus more on the liberal arts. The liberal arts include philosophy, art, literature, history, and so on, right? Ethics. We have been saying that artificial intelligence is no good because the data gets biased, because it doesn't have a soul, because it doesn't have ethics, and so on and so forth. But the question is, are we not biased ourselves? Do we not judge people based on filters that we have in our mind? Human beings are also flawed in a way, if you think about it. We've been accused of racism, we've been accused of judging people based on appearances, and so on and so forth. And I'm not saying that is a bad thing, okay, or a good thing. I'm saying it's a thing. The human brain, the only way that it can cope with all the information that it is bombarded with every day, every minute, every second, is by applying filters. And these filters are based on our learnings about things that we've learned in the past, and our upbringing and our childhood, and our daily life. As we learn, as we gather more experience, we apply filters. And there's this beautiful book by Daniel Kahneman called Thinking Fast and Slow. He says that there are system 1 and system 2, two systems of thinking. One is fast and one is slow. The fast is fast, it's quick, it's energy efficient, but it's flawed, right? It's based on judgments and filters and so on. And then there is the slow brain, which is analytical and slow and accurate, but it is slow and it is resource hungry and it is not efficient. Especially when we are doing things like driving or riding or flying airplanes or running really time-sensitive projects and programs, we need to think fast. right? We're giving interviews, taking interviews, having crucial conversations. We need to think really fast. And when we are doing that, when we're thinking really fast, it's the fast brain that is employed. You can't do analytical reasoning and thinking real quick. It takes time. It takes resources. So the human brain has been designed in such a way that it applies filters. Now, if we as humans are flawed and we are biased, it's not fair to expect the artificial intelligence systems, which is really taking decisions on the data that we provide them, to be unbiased. And it's a learning process. We as humans have evolved over a period of time. We've become less biased and less racist. No matter how racist you think the world is today, it was worse earlier, right? It's better today. So similarly, the AI algorithms are also improving, and trust me, they are improving at a faster rate than we humans are. But there is governance required, undoubtedly. And we'll talk about this, but there's governance required on the data that is being fed to AI systems, and there is governance required on the outputs that AI systems are generating, and we need to keep an eye on it, and we need to course correct on a regular basis. And we'll go deeper into that in one of the future episodes as well. And then there is collaboration and innovation. Now, it's very, very clear that large enterprises cannot innovate. It's too blatant a statement. I'm not going to say large enterprises cannot innovate. I'm saying large enterprises cannot innovate at the speed at which startups can innovate or smaller organizations can innovate, because they're light, they're agile, they're quick to take change directions, quick and dirty. So I think one of the things that organizations can do to leverage artificial intelligence better is to collaborate with startups, to collaborate with smaller organizations, to collaborate with boutique, super specialized organizations that focus on one thing and one thing only, right? And leverage their capabilities to innovate. Collaborate with them. So this is something that can be thought about. And then finally, we have continuous improvement, because organizations need to continuously improve, right? The technologies, when ChatGPT came out for the first time and today's ChatGPT, is completely different, right? It's much more accurate, it's much better, it has much more data, it has much more training on that data. It's much less biased, it learns much faster. So technologies are evolving over a period of time. In the last 2 years or so, high performance computing has also made leaps and bounds of progress, right? At the speed at which it can process information. We have GPUs, we have DPUs, we have TPUs, we have quantum computing now with, don't even get me there, I don't even understand. Anyway, we have qubits and we have quantum entangled particles that react instantaneously across universes. Fun stuff. Point is, technology is evolving on a regular basis, and we need to evolve with it as well. And when I say we, I mean we as people and we as organizations, right? We as enterprises. We need to keep an open mind that things have changed, that sometimes some amount of work that you've done already may have to be thrown away, that we need to improve our processes, that we need to become leaner, that we need to become more efficient, that we need to improve our turnaround times so that we can implement change quicker before the next cycle of improvement, and so on and so forth. And that's something that needs to be thought about in detail. So these are some of the things that an organization can do to leverage artificial intelligence better. Now, have I covered everything? Of course not. Is there something that I missed? I'm sure you know better. So these are things that I think that an organization must do. What do you think? What are your thoughts about how an organization can become more or AI enabled, or how can an organization leverage artificial intelligence better to achieve its objectives? Once again, I wish you a beautiful new year and a prosperous year ahead. Once again, Enterprise Architecture Radio is less a podcast and more a collaboration platform, right? It's a platform where we all get together and learn from each other and guide each other and do our best work. It's a passion project for me. I've started this only because I want to talk to really smart people out there. I want to build this thriving community of IT professionals and practicing enterprise architects and learning enterprise architects and business professionals and anybody for that matter who is interested in topics of design, architecture, and enterprise and business. Yeah? So listen and share and like and comment and get on the Telegram. We have a Telegram platform named Enterprise Architecture Radio. We've got a LinkedIn community called Enterprise Architecture Radio. Just look up Enterprise Architecture Radio anywhere and join this community and start the discussions. And don't just join this community, start something, ask something, tell something, talk about your work that you're doing, challenges that you're facing, things that can be better in your opinion. And don't feel bad if somebody challenges you on that, because it's through challenging each other that we learn. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode and have fun.